Hey guys, welcome back to Barcodes. I'm glad you're here for the second video of this series. In the last one, we have covered some of the basics of JavaScript, and today we are going to dive deeper into some essential concepts. We'll be talking about syntax, literals like numbers and strings, variables and scope, and we'll also cover operators and something interesting called short circuiting. So let's get started with JavaScript syntax. Syntax refers to a set of rules that dictate the structure and format of a programming language. It defines how commands and instructions are returned in a way that the computer can understand and execute. Let's talk about the syntax for alert and console.log in JavaScript. Here, alert or console.log is the name of the function. Alert shows a pop-up message, whereas console.log gives us the basic output. The parentheses tell JavaScript we are calling this function. Inside the parentheses, we put our message in quotes. This is what the user will see in the pop-up or the basic output. Finally, the semicolon marks the end of the statement. If we miss any of this parenthesis or semicolon, we get a syntax error. In the last video, we have discussed about variables and assignment of the variables. Here is a quick glimpse of how we assign a value to the variable. In this example, we are evaluating sum of three numbers. If you try to print without assigning a value to the variable, we get undefined as an output. Literals. In JavaScript, literals are fixed values written directly into code. Unlike variables or complex expressions, literals offer an explicit and concrete value, making coding more straightforward and manageable. Here are few examples of JavaScript literals. Integer literals, floating point literals, string literals. In JavaScript, the number 3 and 3.00 considered as 3. Hence, we got 3 as an output. We also have another type of literals like array literals, boolean literals, and object literals. Variable scope in JavaScript is the region of the code where the particular variable can be accessed or modified. Types of scopes in JavaScript: block scope, function scope, local scope, and global scope. Here we are discussing about local and global scope. Variables declared inside a function become local to the function. Local variables are created when a function starts and deleted when the function is executed. Local variables have function scope, which means that they can only be accessed from within the function. Whereas the global scope, variables declared globally that have global scope, and global variables can be accessed from anywhere in a program. Earlier, JavaScript had only global scope and function scope. Let and const are the two main important keywords that were introduced by ES6, and these two keywords provide block scope in the JavaScript. JavaScript has function scope, and each function creates a new scope. Variables defined inside a function are not accessible from outside the function, and variables declared with var, let, and const are quite similar when declared inside a function. Strings are very important in programming languages like JavaScript. JavaScript string is a sequence of characters typically used to represent a text. It is enclosed in single or double quotes and supports various methods of text manipulation. The most common declarations of a string are using single quotes, using double quotes, and using template strings. Template literal in ES6 provides new features to create a string that gives more control over dynamic strings. Traditionally, strings are created using single quotes or double quotes. Template string is created using backtick character. String interpolation provides more readable, convenient syntax to format strings. It's easier to read than string composite formatting. The $character identifies a string literal as an interpolated string. JavaScript operators are symbols used to perform specific mathematical, comparison, assignment, and logical computations on operands. There are fundamental elements in JavaScript programming allowing developers to manipulate data and control program flow efficiently. Here is an example of code using operators. Shorthand operators in JavaScript provides more efficient way to perform arithmetic operations on variables. Instead of writing the entire expression each time, these operators allow you to combine the operation and assignment into single, concise line of code. For instance, the plus equal to operator adds a value to the variable and then updates the variable with a new result. Short circuiting is a behavior that occurs with logical operators in JavaScript, specifically the and or operators. For the or operator, if the first operand evaluates to true, JavaScript stops evaluating and returns that value. For the and operator, if the first operand evaluates to false, JavaScript also stops evaluating and returns the value. For example, in the expression true or false, it short circuits after checking the first value and returns true without checking the second value. For example, in false and true, it short circuits after the first value and returns false immediately. And that's a wrap of the second video in the series. In the comment section, I'll be updating some important notes. Please do check that. Hit the bell icon, like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more updates.